And
I've been
unmasked.
unmasked.
How are you, David?
I'm doing good. How about you, Alex?
I'm doing pretty good. So, for those who don't know who you are, I do my own little introduction stuff just on my own, but I want to kind of hear how you introduce yourself, the kind of maybe accolades, as if like you're going like on a game show or
Okay.
kind of like going on a stage tour. Like we have Emmy nominated, Oscar winning, blah blah blah. I want to hear how you kind of introduce yourself.
I mean, I don't know about accolades, but I'm just going to talk about what I'm proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Let's hear it.
Yeah, my name is David Navarrete. I am the founder of Moneta Design and Arizona Filmmakers. I am a proud father, a proud husband, proud son, and I guess you could say I'm a master storyteller. I love to tell stories through brands, and that's how I've been able to grow Arizona Filmmakers.
Heck yeah, I like that, master storyteller.
Yeah.
Okay. What's been some of the most proud stories that you've been able to tell?
Okay. Well, since we're on the Unmasked podcast,
Yeah.
one of the best stories that I've been able to tell is my own and how I was actually able to overcome depression. So I would say
You got my ears perked up now.
Hey, yeah, that's probably one of the best stories I've been able to tell, and it's a story that I've been kept secret for years until I was like, I want to say, over 18. I forgot the age, but yeah, 18 years of hiding it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What made you want to hide it at first?
I don't know if it's like, you're the oldest child, or my sister grew up with diabetes, and so the attention was always on her. I always wanted to be the child that never gave a problem.
Right.
So with that, I was kind of just suffering in silence, and I don't want to be the problem child. I don't want to give my parents more trouble, so I want to be the good child.
That makes sense.
Yeah. If I would pinpoint it, I think that's it.
So what was the journey like to overcoming? Because depression is still something I even deal with. It's one of the reasons why there is inconsistency sometimes with this podcast, or there is different things that happen in my life that I don't want to say I'm too afraid to tell, but it's something that I don't, for some reason, there's just that filter that just doesn't allow me to express that part. Like I try to be this person that I know I'm kind of not, but I need to show that I am that kind of person.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, so if you're depressed or you're having these negative thoughts, it all comes down to 4 reasons. Number 1, you feel like you're not enough, which is a big problem that I think we all have. Number 2, we're thinking about the past, we're thinking about the future, or we're not aligned with ourselves. We're not in integrity. We're doing something that goes against who we think we are. So if we're breaking any of those, we fall into depression. We start having negative thoughts. And for me, it was almost hitting each one.
Yeah.
So not being truthful to who you are tells me that it's probably like you feel you're not good enough. And you want to convey this certain person that is who you want to be. But embracing who you are eventually makes you that person that you want to be.
That definitely does kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit, because I've definitely had a sense a little bit that I never feel like enough, or that I know I can achieve more. I've always been my own worst critic. Like nobody can ever tell me something that I haven't said 10 times worse to myself already. And I don't know, I've been in plenty of instances to where people are like, oh wow, like you're doing amazing, blah, blah, blah. And for me, I'm like, what are you talking about?
You don't feel it.
Yeah. I'm like, I might be doing this, but and like, I don't want to insult anybody, but I'm like, that's to an average mind. That's to an average person. I don't want to be an average person. If it's good to you, that means it's nowhere near good to me. I want it to be mind-blowing for you, because that means that I'm doing something extraordinary, which is what I reach for. I don't want to just do the average or just fall into that, like, oh, yeah, cool. Next. Yeah. I want to be that one that you look, the eye looker, the one that makes you like, oh, wait, what? That's possible?
Yeah.
Questioning the possibility of something, Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I think where a lot of people fall into the trap is that they get attached to the outcome,
Yeah.
and it's set the intentions, but don't marry the outcome. If you marry the outcome, you're already setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
Each event that we've had for Arizona filmmakers, if I was set on the outcome, like this is how I want it to be, I'd be miserable each time. But we set the intentions that people are going to have a good time, people are going to leave with value, and as long as those two things are happening, no matter what problems we have during the event or after the event, we succeeded. And trust me, each event we're like, how did we do this? How did we fly by?
Yeah.
But we just set those intentions. Our intentions are good, and we're happy.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's very much true though, because a lot of times people that do focus too much on the outcome or the trophy, once you get to that trophy, there's nothing left for you. And sometimes that trophy is much farther and more difficult than you think. And if you don't pay attention to the journey that you're on or what you're doing currently, and you don't see the tiny trophies along the way, you're going to be constantly thinking, I'm not doing enough, or I've made no progress. Even if you go on there and I want to be as big as PewDiePie, or I want to be as big as these giant YouTubers. I want to be the next Mr. Beast. It's like, well, okay, slow your roll. I mean, yes, he has a lot of subscribers and he's a lot of success to this. But even him, he didn't set the intention with, I'm going to have 100 million subscribers by this. It was, I'm going to do what I love and grow. And he probably set smaller goals. He probably like, oh, I'm going to make 1,000 subscribers by this point. And then I'm going to do 100,000 subscribers. And then doing that. Like, that's what I've seen from a lot of quote-unquote successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They don't have the exact trophy of where they're at today. They sent the little
their
ones.
intention of why they're doing it, not the, hey, I want to be the 5 million or 100 million.
Right.
Yeah. It's this is my intention. I want to start making content
that
changes the world and that makes people happy. That's the intention. They set it. They go after that intention,
Right.
and not after the intangible thing.
Well, it's about the purpose behind it.
Yeah.
If you're chasing something for the purpose of the outcome, but you don't have any fulfillment along that purpose, you're going to burn out immediately, because it's not, in most cases, it's not a guaranteed win, especially off the bat. You can't go into a certain business or a certain career and expect to be the best of the best and the top of the top without having some sort of underlying thing rather than just a success from it. It's like in acting. You can't go into acting and immediately be like, oh, I'm going to be Leonardo tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to be as big as Johnny Depp tomorrow. I'm going to be as big as all these people tomorrow. Those people don't go into it with the intentions of, I'm going to be the biggest, best actor in the world. They go into it because they love acting.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, I haven't met a single successful entrepreneur that went into their career just for the purpose of becoming rich and all this. They went into it with the purpose of whatever their business is about.
Yeah, and I have a lot of friends, which hopefully none of them think this is about them, but I have a lot of friends who want to be entrepreneurs, who are like, I'm looking for the next best thing. I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. And I was like, why would you want to go through that entrepreneur journey? It's hell. Like, if I had a choice, I wouldn't want to do it, because you're you're working every moment of your
Right.
of your waking life, and until you find out how to systemize it, then you're a business owner, and then you become an investor, and that's where a lot of people want to be, not the entrepreneur journey. So it is hell in the beginning, but I became an entrepreneur because I loved what I did so much that it forced me into that.
Right.
And that's exactly what you were saying. It's like people who become entrepreneurs because out of the passion that they have towards a certain craft or a certain product are the ones that become successful.
I've personally seen success from the ones that, rather than just trying to become rich and famous or something, they find a problem, they solve the problem. That's putting it to the basics of the basic for why a product or a person becomes successful in their field. I could even see the problem and solution that you've done. Arizona didn't really have too much of a film community when I got into this career, I saw that there was nothing there. I was kind of burned out of the event space. I didn't even think of like, oh, let's create this kind of type of community. But luckily, there is a lot of other people like yourself that have the same mindset of we need to build this community. And I don't know what your intentions or exact purpose or anything is
Mm-hmm.
behind this company, but I feel like I'm on the right track. But I'll let you kind of explain the full purpose, and like maybe like your mission statement, if you will.
Yeah. So I'll tell you like the story behind it.
Okay.
So, man, how far back should I go? Because
As far back as you want to go.
Okay.
We got a little while.
All right. So real quick, I wanted to be a doctor. So that's what I wanted to do.
Oh wow. Okay.
And as ambitious as I am, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I went for my bachelor's in biology and pre-med. I graduated. During the bachelor's part, I was shadowing a few doctors, some neurosurgeons, some foot doctors, uh, some other ones. And I saw that they were all struggling with the insurance. So as much as you want to help, as much as altruistic as you are, you're just at the mercy of the insurance. So it made me super sad. And I was already struggling with depression. I thought I'm already $30,000 in debt, and I have to go in hundreds more just to be a doctor. If I go through with it and I'm not happy, like I don't know how I'm gonna live with myself.
Right.
So through that depression, keep in mind I had my wife and my son and my parents who were supporting us during that time so that I can go to school. I had to tell them through that depression I leaned on a hobby, which was videography. So I had to tell them, hey, I'm not going to be a doctor anymore. I'm going to be a videographer.
That's a hard thing to lay on.
They did not want to hear that. They're like, how's school? Just tell me how school is. Like, spending 4 years providing for my son, my wife, and me, just living. I was working one job. My wife was working another job. And yeah, they did not want to hear that I wasted 4 years. I was in $30,000 in debt, and they're wasting their money on,
Right.
But I graduated, and I think I overcompensated by taking 3 jobs, and at the same time trying to grow my videography business, which was Moneta Design, which is now a branding media agency. And when I started that branding media agency, when I was in the industry, I noticed that I was reaching out to people and no one was replying back. No one wanted to meet me. Hey, you want to go get a coffee? Some people were online, so like, hey, if you want to meet me, just DM me. DM them, silent. No one would reply. I'm like, man, Arizona sucks. Like, and what I noticed, I was posting my work on Facebook, and people would comment like rude stuff. You get that, or did you get that before?
I went through very similar stuff. Cause I guess I still am a photographer and videographer. I just don't practice nearly as much.
Yeah.
My camera kind of took a crap a little bit, so a little bit stuck on that realm. But when I was actively trying to do it, I would be DMing people like crazy. Nobody did it. I would be going through Facebook groups, posting, "Hey, I'll do free photo shoots for you." Trying to go that free route of offering that.
Anything.
Still nobody. And I remember one photo shoot that I posted. I took it in downtown Phoenix, and I just got a friend of mine who I was like, "Hey, can we do a photo shoot?" And it said that. I thought it turned out really good. We were in an alleyway, and I did the photo shoot, and behind her there was this dumpster that had some stuff sticking out of it. For me, I didn't care that there was a dumpster. I thought like the framing looked good, the coloration looked good, the lighting was really good. But then there was like 3 people that were commenting, just mentioning the fact that there was a dumpster behind it and pointing out all the little bullshit parts of it. And I'm like, okay.
To me, those are waste of a comment.
Yeah.
Like, I get, like, I don't know. It was just really sad to see that. And I saw it on all the different types of posts.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you mean. And there was one time where I was like, this community isn't good. Yeah. I for my birthday, I wanted to give. And I put out like, hey, I want to have a free photo shoot for anyone who comes in. I want to get to know you. I want to, build that community.
Right.
And so I told everyone, like, free photo shoot at my place. We got snacks, waters, everything. And for my birthday, I want to give to you. People started commenting that I'm a pervert, that I just want to take advantage of women in my home, that all this negative stuff. And I'm like, it broke me. I was like,
Yeah.
how could people be like that? And so I don't know if they wanted to pull me down, so I would, like, I don't know what it was. When I tell people this story, I say that the community to me was like had a crab mindset.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that story?
A crab mindset, you
Yeah.
said? I feel like I've heard of it, but remind me.
So the reason why fishermen don't put lids on top of buckets when they're catching crabs is because as soon as one crab tries to climb out, another one pulls them down. So they self-sabotage themselves so
Okay.
that one doesn't succeed more than the other.
Interesting. I haven't heard that actually.
Yeah. So people to me had this crab mindset, and I was like, I'm waiting for this community to come to change that.
Right.
And I waited like a year, 2 years, and I was like, okay, I'm tired of waiting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do it. We need to develop a bee mindset, where one bee is helping the whole hive. So that's exactly what I did. I had started like 2 years of developing how do I want this community to be, how am I going to start it, and I started with my interviews. I started interviewing as many people as I could. Me and my partner, Stefan, we interviewed like 7, I want to say like, I don't know, like 10 people a week. I don't know. It was a lot.
Really?
Yeah, he missed a birthday because he was interviewing people. Like, it was just, we were grinding every week for 3 months straight. And then when we had our first event, which was the talk shop,
Yeah.
everybody showed up because we were making those connections, and we're saying, hey, let us interview you and put you on our platform. In return, we just want to meet you.
So with these interviews, what kind of people were you interviewing?
It was mostly filmmakers, so anyone, production companies, I think a few actors, just anyone that we could find on Instagram.
Okay, so you were finding these filmmakers and actors, and was it just like an interview to put on your Instagram, or was it like a podcast type of deal, or
Just an interview, so just highlighting them. So it would be like camera just on them, not me. We never promoted me or Stefan. We wanted it to be about the community.
Okay.
So that got people like, oh, wow, look what they're doing.
Okay, so you would just reach out to people, connected with them, and then you would tell them about this event, like, hey, you should go to this event because there's going to be a lot of other people that are like-minded, and it's going to be like a community that you'll be able to find community in.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And this is just all part of the strategy of, like, what I do for a living, which is like brand strategies and stuff like that. Like, how do I build a brand that people can relate to and connect with,
Right.
and want to be a part of it?
I've tried to do a lot of that stuff, but in my experience, you do hit a lot of setbacks because a lot of people, there's so many fake accounts on Instagram that, like, I'll go through and I'll follow a bunch of people that I think would like my stuff, and then sometimes they will follow, but I've noticed that, like, just because even a lot of followers, that doesn't mean engagement, or that doesn't mean actual audience. That could just be random people that followed. And, like, I'm following a lot of people. I don't engage with hardly any of them, though. I try not to even scroll on social media. So all those people that I follow, it's kind of no point for me to even follow them because I'm not even looking at their content, And so being able to create the in-person community, it's something that we lost. It's something that doesn't exist, which that's one of the cool things though I did find about going to your events though, is being able, the amount of people that I do have like on my acting Instagram that I'm there and like, hey,
we met online.
Yeah, like I remember you from Instagram, right? I'm like, yeah, and like we'll connect, or like I'll go, I'm like, hey, what's your Instagram? And we're already following each other, and I'm like, oh shit, okay. It's just you do still have to filter people out though, the ones that aren't actually passionate about it, the ones that aren't actually in the industry. And I don't know, there could be bad apples in every batch, but at the same time there could also be really good ones. Like, I know personally some people that are part of your guys' team that are some of the most amazing people I've ever known. I'm like, the fact that you guys were able to hook these guys, I know it's going to be an incredible thing because I know the integrity of these guys,
Mm-hmm.
and these guys have incredible integrity. And if they believe in you guys, that's already showing a lot of trust for you.
Yeah, and just that's what's wowed me because I only went into this to make friends. That was it. Like,
Really?
yeah, I only wanted to make friends. I wanted to find my bees, and
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting to start a whole movement, community over competition type
Yeah.
thing. And but once we were there and people really felt like that there was a need, I was like, okay, well, we got to build the community partners. We got to like really make something out of this. But the amount of support that we've gotten is just overwhelming. I haven't been able to really process. I'm like it's hard to think that wow that we did that.
Yeah.
It's
Like you guys hit a need. I feel like you guys. What you guys did, I call it a dud niche, which means
yeah.
it's like you would think that something like this already exists,
I thought
but
yeah
somehow it doesn't. Which I mean, I guess like
they exist.
yeah,
But no one's hitting that pain point.
but they also don't put the energy and stuff into it. They don't put everything because, like you said, I didn't know that you guys were sitting down with 10+ people a week interviewing them, which that helps grow your community so much.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's other people that do try to build their community and stuff, but for them, all they do is maybe start an Instagram account
Yeah.
and follow a bunch of random people,
Yeah.
or I don't know, just do like little tiny things that they think.
Put out a flyer for their event, and they're like,
Exactly.
"Why didn't no one come?"
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it's funny too, because like even with doing that, because I used to have an event coordination company too, and the reason why my company went viral so quick is because of the type of marketing. It wasn't just like, oh, we're just gonna go to random spots in downtown and put it here. It'd be like, what's our audience? What is our actual audience? Who do we want at this party? Okay, cool. Because it was like just promoting for clubs and stuff. The whole classic promoter thing. I went down that route, which it didn't pan out well, but it taught me so much, especially about marketing, with being able to like, okay, because I also went through this business class, and one of the first things they do is they teach you when you are developing a marketing strategy in a company. The first thing you need to do is figure out what your key customer is. Design them in your head. What is their age? What is their ethnicity? What do they like to do? Where do they like to go? Who do they like to hang out with? What do they do on their off times? What do they do for work? Where do they eat?
Mm-hmm.
Literally like creating John Doe and then creating all his different specs and stuff to figure out exactly who he is, because if you can figure out who he is, you'll go to the different things that he would go to.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it was like, okay, our John Doe is a college student who is probably in a fraternity or sorority who enjoys to go out and stuff. So we'd go to these little things and maybe sneak into a frat party here or there, or go on campus and literally hand it to all these people. And like we would be like, okay, this person looks like they probably go to a party, or just talk to random people like, hey, do you guys know this person? Do you guys know this person? Or hey, we have a free party. There's no cover charge, or there's no you have to bring this many girls or whatever, like all those things that like frat parties and stuff had. And because of that, people are like, oh shit, okay, we'll check it out. Like, we can party till 2 a.m. We don't have to be 21. It's an 18 and up thing, and we get to be somewhere and not have to worry about the cops shutting it down and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And because we were able to hit that thing, it was able to blow up that much.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a very similar thing with you guys. Obviously, Arizona has quite a few actors. They have quite a few filmmakers. Every school here has a film community.
Yeah.
Like they have their own film schools. Like we have Huntington University, which is pretty much only film. It's like media. It's a media school. Not a lot of people know about it, but they produce some of the highest quality film stuff I've ever seen.
Really?
And like I've been an actor in a couple of their projects, and I've gotten to the point now to where if a student is going to school there and they ask me to be in their project, I will pretty much always guarantee to say yes, regardless if I'm paid or not, because of how high quality their stuff is.
Yeah.
And because of the passion. It's not just like some kid going to school who took film as an elective class or as extra credit and like, you know what?
I need a passing grade.
Yeah, I need to do this, because I've been in those, and it sucks because for me, I'm like, I'm a working actor. This is my passion, and you who's doing this film doesn't have the same passion, so it's going to be a shit project. Versus the other things where it's like, oh, I invested $10,000 of my own dollars into this film. I can't really pay you a whole lot, but it's because
we're putting all this stuff
Yeah,
into.
we have really great gear. We have an amazing writer. We have awesome scripts. We have this. We have this. We had to spend money on location. We had to spend money on this. For me, I'm like,
Yeah.
if you guys are putting that much into it, I want to be part of this because I know it's going to be good. I know the end product is going to be something I'm proud to be in. And we can maybe talk about business later on of putting it through film festivals and stuff. Because that's how exposure happens. It's through film festivals. It's not just like, oh, you get discovered by Robert Downey Jr. on the side of the road and he's like, hey, I want you in my movie,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome, though, that whole
wouldn't-
thing came around, especially with such like a duh feel.
Yeah, and it's funny because we meet people, like we meet new people that have been around Arizona for like more than 10, 20 years, and they're like, "Oh, you guys are Arizona filmmakers?" Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it was just yesterday. I didn't know about you guys, and now everybody just knows you.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it feels like our first event was just yesterday.
Yeah.
Like everything's been so quick. I haven't had time to breathe.
Right. So, one of the best ways I feel you can get to know someone is obviously knowing their past and their upbringing and stuff. So, I'm kind of curious in your early days growing up, where you grew up, the environment you kind of grew up in, people that you grew up around, lessons and stuff that you learned that still majorly affect you to today.
So, born and raised in Arizona.
Okay, so you're native Arizonian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is funny because now in this industry or in the entrepreneur space, no one is from Arizona.
Right.
So, are you from Arizona?
I am.
You are? Born and raised?
Born and raised in Flagstaff.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Like growing up, I thought everyone was from Arizona, but then now that I'm in this space, no one is. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
hard
really
to find
rare to
people,
find.
right? But yeah, so grew up in Arizona, but I spent a lot of time in Mexico. So almost like 30% of each year until I was 14, I was in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah. So even went to school over there. And I was growing up. I was more of like that whiny child who wanted to be like had a safe no conflict, no nothing, like always,
Yeah.
and always like whiny. And so when I went to Mexico, my aunt, I guess I could talk about it. My aunt, she took me to the park, and she told some kids, "Hey, that's my whiny nephew. Yeah, go beat him up."
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I was just playing soccer, minding my own business, and all of a sudden I see these kids come over, and they're like, "Hey, let's play." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to make friends." And then they started like being aggressive to the point afterwards, like they're beating on me. And I was like, I just didn't understand. Why.
Oh my god.
And it went on till I started like getting tougher.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand why my cousins wouldn't defend me either. Like they had me in a chokehold and stuff, and they're like, "Ask your cousins to help you." I'm like, "Please help me," and no one would help me. So I didn't find out that happened till later. I was just like, "Damn, Mexico is brutal." Like, Mexico is brutal. But I mean, I'm grateful that I went through something like that because it made me tougher. It made me like I don't take anything from anyone, and
Right.
So that's part of my childhood that I'm thankful for. Which, if I could give that to my son without without him getting hurt,
It's hard though.
It's hard, yeah. And these diverse like things that happen to you as a child, it's like, I don't know, the what's it called? The problems that you go through is what makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if my son can get stronger, but not in in that way. The other thing is that, so I have a problem with like social cues, and I don't know. My wife, she's like, "Oh yeah, you have autism." Like she thinks I have autism. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I do see the world very differently than a lot of people, and for the longest time, I couldn't how I had that depression.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand if the cues they were giving me were negative or positive. I couldn't understand. So growing up, I thought that a lot of them was just negative. I thought people didn't like me. And I think that my actions towards that made me come off weird. So then people didn't start liking me. It was a vicious cycle.
Right.
Until I met my wife in high school, and we were dating, and she's like, you come on too strong, and you have this kind of weird vibe to you. And she's like, you should do this instead. So she helped me.
Okay, so she kind of like coached you through.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she was just interested in me, and she's like, oh, you're weird, but I like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so now it's a blessing because I interpret things positively. Whether or not you like me or not, I'm just going to interpret it positively. And I feel like at this point, we're all grown ups. And if you don't like me, you're a grown up to tell me you don't like me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm just going to assume that you do.
Okay.
So it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
No, I like that. It's very much like a cup half full type of approach.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is missing.
Because if I'm not going to be able to assume, if my assumptions are wrong either way, like I can't pinpoint how you feel towards me, I might as well assume the best. Which there was one time where there was this girl that I kind of liked when I was younger, and I would reach out like, hey, what's the gang all doing? Are we hanging out? Or are we doing this? Or are we doing that? And she would be like, no, we're not doing anything. And then I would find out on like social media they're doing something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, hey, are we doing something this time? Like, I didn't understand. I was like,
right.
And then eventually she texted back. She's like, can't you take a hint? Like, we don't want to hang out with you. You're weird. I don't want to talk to you. And I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. I did not understand.
Yeah.
Those little things is what brought me down. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've had very similar instances that have happened to me to where I've always tried to see the best in people. And I've had plenty of times where like friends stab me in the back to where I'm like, hey, I thought we were like friends and stuff. And they're like, we tried to be nice and let you down easily, but stop. Just no, we don't want you around. And I'm like,
oh man.
I'm like, what did I do? And they're like, you're annoying. You whine too much. You're scrawny. You're this. You're that. I'm like,
why do they care if you're scrawny?
I'm like, okay. I'm sorry. I guess like I'm sorry. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
And like for a while I wanted to change that.
Yeah.
But then I realized later on, I'm like, it's just not something like. I don't know, having other people's judgment on you shouldn't ever make you want to change to just be more like them. Because there's always going to be someone you are going to click with. Just because I didn't click with them, I still always had like the weird kids that I would hang out with. And the awesome thing was about that, those weird kids that also didn't really fit in or that also were in the same situation were the most genuine. Yeah. Because they weren't trying to act like something they weren't. Because they weren't trying to put on this mask to be cool and stuff. Mm-hmm. We were all just like, hey, you're weird, I'm weird, let's be weird together. You know?
Yeah. And then there was people that were weird, but then they would find a popular friend or something, and they would do a 180. Yeah. And you had that too?
Oh, absolutely. I had like plenty of that.
Best friends that where I was like, hey, what's going on tonight? And they're like, oh, we're having a party or something.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, I want to go. And then they'll be like, yeah, the guy said you're weird. And he said you're the bad weird. So I was like, it's like he doesn't want you to go.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I had instances. I was always that kid that if there was a new kid, I was one of the first ones to be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Like trying to become friends with them.
That's what's up. Yeah, that's what
I was always that one. But on the contrary, I would do that until maybe the jocks or maybe like the popular kids were kind of taking an interest for some reason in them, and then that's when they put me like I was at first I was like, bro, like I'm the one that I'm like your OG friend here, like you're gonna do me like that,
pushing me to the side.
But then after a while I'm like, okay, I'll let you see, and then like literally like a year later, like, hey, so I miss you, man, and I'm like, oh, so you finally got to see how bad they actually are. You get to see how judgmental they are.
Yeah.
And because I took to you because you're weird. They see you're weird and they're not going to take to you. I see you in a different way than they're going to see you, so it's not going to be the same click. Mm-hmm. They're gonna discount you, or they're gonna do something like this.
And you know what's cool about that? What's cool about Arizona filmmakers is that I feel like we got all the weird kids, and we're all the weird kids in this community now. Yeah. Because I've been to networking events before. I've been to like different types, and I feel like for the most part, everyone's putting up a facade and making oh, look at my watch, look at my suit, look at this and that.
Yeah.
Like, we show up like that, but we're not bragging about that stuff, or we're not like showing.
Right.
We're like, hey, I saw you in that commercial. I saw you in this video. I saw
Yeah.
like, hey, like we're being weird all together, from what I see. So I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I mean, most of the events I've gone to for you guys, obviously, like, yeah, there's like all the weird people. I mean, every group, I've realized, even being in the acting community here, it doesn't matter what field you're going into, there are always going to be kind of those different types of people in it. There's going to be like the jocks of that group and stuff. Like, even in acting, like, there's the jocks of acting who they aren't the actual storytellers. They're in it for the fame and for the fortunes, or for this or for that, or like just for the attention or something. They're not in it for telling a story or going to like that. Which I've encountered that, but at the same time, it's like you have to find your own community within the community. And yeah, I've encountered, like, even at your guys' events, like, I've encountered some of those people. I'm not going to obviously name names or anything, but those people do exist.
Yeah.
It's just something that you have to, and for me, that was one of the things that took me by surprise. I'm like, I'm in the socially awkward thing. Like, the theater kids in high school were not the popular ones. They weren't the ones that everyone's like, hey, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. They were the ones that everyone's like, okay, cool. You're a little bit weird, but you do, as long as you're weird from a distance, like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, that's who we are. That's the kind of people we are. And I'm like, you were the popular one in high school. Why are you in this area now?
Really?
And it's like, I've encountered that here and there. But at the same time, though, you also never know what the other side of the coin looks like. And that's one of the judgments I've had to lay down, like, putting away that judgment of, like, I know you were the popular one in high school, and now you're trying to come into my career and be the star of that one too. Like, go fuck yourself in a way. But I'm like, I also don't know what your life actually looks like. I don't know how creative you actually are. I don't know what your actual want to be in this community looks like. If you are just looking for fame and fortune, or if you are a genuine storyteller and you have that creative side that nobody knew, because maybe you are that one jock
that was hiding, suppressing it.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah.
That was like, I'm actually secretly, like, extremely creative. I've been a pro football player or something my entire life, and my dad wanted me to be in the NFL, so I had to do that.
Classic High School Musical.
Yeah, yeah. But on my free time, I read Shakespeare and practice this, and I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Like, you never know who's going to be that person, so that's why I try to always, no matter what, like, my encounters with everyone, I'm never going to go up to anyone and be like, hey, go fuck yourself, like this. Unless you specifically burn me in a certain way, I'm still never going to go up to you and do all that. It'll just be like, hey, nice to see you again.
I feel like I encounter people like that as well. I try not to let it get to me, but it's like me and Stefan try to do so much.
Yeah.
You know? It's always about you guys and not about us.
Right.
Like, we never try to promote ourselves. Like, most people don't even know about Moneta Design, which is my branding media agency.
Yeah.
I'm not using Arizona filmmakers as a platform for me.
Yeah. I did notice that too, because it took me a while after you guys created the thing to even know who was behind it. I didn't know who was behind it at first. I just saw this, and I'm like, who the hell is doing this?
Because everybody's expecting, like, every community that's built, you see the owner, the people, like, created by this or powered by another company.
Right.
Like everyone has their own agenda, and we were just altruistically, we want to build a community that we could all fit in, and a name that everyone could rally behind.
Yeah. I do that with the podcast, but it's in a different way, to where I want my audience to have a relationship also with me. I want them to be comfortable with me. If this was like a thing with multiple different hosts, I probably wouldn't put my name on the brand. Yeah. But since this is my brand, I want them to be comfortable with the podcast, but I also want to build a personal relationship with the community under that, because it is within that. But I get what you're saying. Yeah,
there's different types of brands. There's personal brands. There's like community brands,
right?
Like business brands. Like, there's so many ways to go about it. But yeah, I've encountered people that they say they're about the community. They add themselves to my inner circle.
Yeah.
And then once they're in, they start asking, like, okay, how can I get something out of this? Could
Yeah.
you do something for me? Can you do this? Can you do
Right.
that? And I'm like, this isn't what this is for. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do stuff just for you, because then I would have to do it for everybody else. Like,
Right.
it's saddening. I thought you wanted to help grow this community, not
Right.
how can this community help you grow. So they're still not crabs, but they're not bees.
Yeah. Which, it's unfortunate that that kind of stuff happens, but it's going to happen with every community. Every community is going to have some of those crabs that come in, especially when there are successful people in that community. They're going to go in and be like, hey, this person's successful. And there was this thing that I can't remember if I was watching it today or yesterday, but it was, you'll never see a bodybuilder tearing down someone at the gym. You'll never see like someone who's successful in the field tearing other people down that are in that field. You only see people that are envious or that are down here trying to pull them. Like, you'll never see someone pulling someone down from up here. It'll always be from
It doesn't
down
make
here.
sense. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's another thing that you have to realize is when you do encounter those people, it's like, well, those are just people below you that are trying to make sure that you're going to stay at their level instead of going up here.
Yeah.
And it might be hard to reach the people up here and have them pull you up, but that's what you got to focus on.
Yeah.
And I struggle with it myself all the time. I mean, it's still a human being and stuff, so it's hard not to listen and it's hard not to partake in all that kind of stuff. And especially with the way the world is today, with how negativity spreads way quicker than positivity.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to not be pulled down, you know?
It's human nature to focus on the negative, which is how we market.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful thing that we introduce that problem of what you have, and then how whatever we're selling to you is the solution.
Absolutely.
It's interesting how humans are wired.
So other than events, what else does Arizona fashion? I always do that. It's the same Arizona and then that.
I do the same thing because there's another community called Arizona Entrepreneurs. So when they started, I helped brand them out, do all the videos, and help them grow. Yeah.
Okay.
And then shortly after, I was like, do I know what I'm doing, or did we get lucky with Arizona Entrepreneurs? So then I started Arizona Filmmakers. Same stories, same concept, everything. And I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So every time I would talk about Arizona Filmmakers, in the beginning of Arizona Filmmakers, I'd be like, Arizona Entrepreneurs. So I get you completely.
I didn't know you were that you were like tied into Arizona Entrepreneur. I started following them on Instagram and stuff because obviously my podcast, Entrepreneurs and Artists, and Arizona Entrepreneurs, I'm like, that's the most duh thing in the world. Why would I not follow them? They probably have some entrepreneurs that I'd want to have on here.
It's a good bunch. Let me know which ones you want to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely have a little meeting or something and see about who else wants to get interviewed or be on here. But what were we?
I think we were talking about. You were asking me something about Arizona Filmmakers, and you said,
"Oh yeah,
Fashion Week."
So with because I know you guys obviously do a lot of events.
Oh yeah.
What else other than events do you guys do?
So, most of the stuff we're doing is in person. So like workshops and meetups and red carpet events, but we do have some exciting things in the works. For example, we're building out a database that's going to help connect anybody to anybody.
Really?
Yeah. So it's called the Cinedex. I don't know if you've Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokédex.
Okay. I was like, why do I know that?
Why does it sound familiar?
Yeah. Why does that sound familiar?
For the younger people, it's Pokédex, but for the older people, Rolodex.
That's awesome.
Your Rolodex is where you find all your contacts.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's not everyone has their own list, personal list.
Right.
But there's not a solid one where it's easy and you can hyper search exactly who you need.
Yeah.
You still have to do some searching. The problem with social media, Instagram is like, I need someone who's really good at car videography. You go on social media, look up some car hashtag. Their work is really great, but how do you know they're reliable? You hire them and then they're not reliable. They show up late and never hire them again. But the problem isn't fixed because someone else will go on their page and be like, oh yeah, their work is dope.
Yeah.
Same problems.
Yeah.
So what the Cinedex does is that it gives every single person a free profile. If you're a freelancer, if you're a business, it's not a free account. You have to pay to be on here.
Okay.
But if you're a freelancer, you get a free profile. And once we're able to track bookings through the app, you could also give them a review after you've booked them. So your profile now becomes your credibility.
Okay.
So you can look up their work. They have great work, but they have 3 stars or 2 stars.
Right.
Then you're like, okay, I got to watch out for them.
So how are you guys going to push people to
Join.
review them then? Because I know that a lot of people just don't review people.
It's kind of like Airbnb, you know?
Okay.
You know, you book Airbnb and you're like, that was a great experience. I might as well send them, or vice versa. You could give them a review. Hey, this person was great to work with.
Yeah.
But you can't see their review until they submit yours. You know.
Okay.
So you're like, oh, I kind of want to know what they gave me, so I'll give them a review real quick.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? It kind of that incentive to give them a review. So what's great about that is that you can't just hate on someone and go give them a review. You have to actually book them and pay them. You know.
Gotcha.
The other thing is that it'll be a little bit of a algorithm to find the people. So there'll be a search bar, and you search up, like I said, videography, car videography. Then like SEO, it'll rank people depending on how many reviews they have, how many years of experience they have, if they specialize in that category, etc.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It definitely does help with the fact of like, as an actor, I'd go on there and look up like film directors or something to be able to connect with them.
And it also tells you where they're at locally.
Okay.
So it also you can build a community through this. So this is going to be a nationwide app.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's not just going to be
Arizona. Started in Arizona, if it does well.
Yeah.
Branch it out to our contacts in Texas, LA, and I think Stefan has some in Washington. So,
wow.
So it'll branch out to those. If those do good, I think hopefully that everyone else picks it up.
But this is specifically only for those in like the creative industry, is
yes.
that right?
Yeah. Well, anyone in the creative industry. So that could even be carpenters. That could be makeup artists. That could be set designers. You know,
right.
Anyone who is
somewhat like you just in the creative industry. Period.
Yeah.
Then, okay.
Photographers. Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah.
Then we have film raisers. And I've never talked about this. This is something that's secret with our community partners. Only a handful of people know, but these are the 3 things that are coming out next year.
Okay.
So Cinedex, film raisers, which is, it's a group, it's a giving group. So we have people who, our goal is to get 100 members, 100 businesses, and each quarter puts in $100. So that's $100, $10,000. At the end of each quarter, we have people from the community who have scripts or projects pitch us their projects, and as a group, we decide how we give out the $10,000 to the winning pitch.
Wow!
So we're creating opportunities in Arizona for people to produce their films with that amount of money. And 100, we have an average of 3,000 people in each platform that we have.
Yeah.
So 100 is honestly not a lot.
Right.
We could have a lot more people in this group. And for those who are in business, $100 a quarter is easy.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, especially with how big the film industry is growing in Arizona, it's something that, like, if you were to try this probably 6 years ago, people would be like, I mean, that's cute and all, but I don't know. But now that, like, tax incentive went through and we have these studios that are being built here, and just so much more attention to the film industry, it's one of those, like, you have to do something. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And this, I feel like, is definitely a really good time to do something in the film industry. So having something like this with film and the arts kind of blowing up a little bit more in Arizona, people are a little bit more interested. Like, hey, are you interested in being part of this? Because it has a big chance of blowing up. Like, even the film festivals here, every year I see more and more people attending these film festivals because things are starting to blow up more. There's more actors. More actors means more publicity. There's more directors. There's more writers. There's just more people in general, especially like with the universities and stuff getting more kids from California and all that. So we're like, oh yeah, I was in California, now I attend this place and I do film here. And if they stay here, they develop more. So it's just overall the film industry, I feel like, is growing enough to where something like that could definitely be very feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's incredible though. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. I'm excited for that one
Yeah.
because there's going to be a lot of cool projects that people can develop.
Well, and even like $10,000, like you can rent a decent cinema camera for that. You can do at least one or two locations.
Oh, and we're also working on all the major, almost every rental house here in Arizona will be part of this program. And if you're one of the winners, you get a discount on their rentals.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
like
also studios as well.
yeah, because that was one of the biggest things that like when I was part of a film. Unfortunately, that was like one of the biggest setbacks. Is either sound was absolutely garbage because they didn't have really
Sound
good.
is always garbage here.
Yeah.
I don't know why. We got to work on sound, guys.
Yes, that is a big thing, and I don't know. Like sometimes I'm questioning why, because I'm like, you had a boom mic and lav mics. I don't know why you guys' sound is so bad. But that, and then just cameras, because a lot of people don't realize that like DSLRs are not made for cinema stuff. You can get some really good footage with it, but it doesn't have the same quality that like an actual cinema camera has.
Yeah.
Like when you use a Blackmagic versus a regular like Canon Mark IV, it's you can still see a noticeable difference in like it has better resolution, but even without the technical specs, the coloration, this and this and this and this.
You can tell.
Yeah, there's a very big difference, and then even with other things like tripods, a lot of people are like, oh, I'll just get a regular tripod. Like, no, if you don't have this specific thing to get the smooth shots, it's not going to look as good. It's not going to look as clean. Or gimbals, people underestimate the power of gimbals. It's like,
I mean, I was on the gimbal for the red carpet thing the whole night. Yeah.
Which I didn't even like. You can't even tell if you know how to use a gimbal. You can make something look absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And so, like, I've been on a lot of sets that they don't have a lot of these, and for me, I'm like, oh shoot. Unless they are the world's best post editor and they know how to like animate some of this stuff or maybe add in some CGI stuff, I can already tell this is gonna
be a
not
bad
like
project.
They have a good vision, but execution's not going to be as on par.
And what I'm hoping for is that those 10 grand is also gonna boost the film industry economy here a little bit. You know, like a lot of people are just like, oh, I don't have any work. DPs are like, I don't. You know, maybe these projects are hiring like out these DPs or these you know actors and stuff like that. So money's being circulated within the community a little more.
Yeah, it'll just provide a lot more jobs and stuff.
Yeah,
especially for paid jobs, because if they only spent $5,000 on production, they could pay actors like $100 a day.
Yeah,
like hey, we have a budget of $2,000 that we could pay actors. That's going to be $100 for 2 actors for this many days. Cool, we can do that. And a lot of actors here will absolutely take that kind of work. And we have incredible actors here that aren't all about the money, that are like, you guys have a really amazing set and really amazing thing going on. It went through the eyes of some of the best people. They believe in it. Let's do it.
And we have some pretty big people backing up the film raisers already. Some
Really?
pretty big producers out here. And yeah, so I'm excited for it.
That's awesome.
The last thing we got going on is called the Spotlight.
Okay.
This is for actors now.
Ooh, I'm listening.
Yeah. So what we notice is that a lot of people, when they're submitting for castings, the consistency of the quality of the representation of them isn't up there. Maybe if you have an agency, you're with an agency, they provide that, but a lot of people don't have that. So we want to be that solution. We're providing them some headshots, slates, and clips. So if you don't have any work to show, like, hey, this is a clip of me acting, we're gonna provide the scripts for you. We're gonna design the whole stage, and we're gonna shoot it professionally, like if it's like a film. And
is this something the actors will have to pay for though?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a premium service that we're gonna offer, and we can't take everyone. Yeah. So we to even apply for this service, you have to apply for it. Like a casting.
So like audition.
It. Yeah, because we don't want you to waste your money if you're not even ready for the service. You know.
Right.
If your acting skills aren't there where this would benefit you, we're gonna just refer you to some classes or some people who can help you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm not very deep into the acting stuff here. I got my career a couple of years ago. That's when I started all of it. I had no idea where to start though. Like you can't like yes, you can technically Google how to become an actor,
Yeah.
but that doesn't really help a lot, you know?
Yeah.
It takes like taking the due diligence of finding a class. It took me 3 times to find a good class that I actually kind of stuck in and actually learned some stuff. The first like little bit of classes I took, they were all like BS stuff. It was just random people that were like, "Oh, I know everything about acting," and you go in, you're like, "What the hell are we doing?" And so, and like not even really meeting, like it wasn't even the best networking opportunity.
Yeah.
So being able to do that, and then obviously when you are auditioning or trying to get a part, everyone wants to see you have 3 things: you have good headshots, you have a good resume, and you have a damn good reel. They want to see what you've done in the
Yeah.
past. But it's one of those things that in order to get experience, you have to have experience. Especially with getting if you're getting an agent's not even going to look at you if you don't have
Really?
those 3 things.
Yeah.
You have to have experience in order, unless you,
Blow them away with just
Yeah.
meeting them or something.
if somehow you're able to just become like really good connections, or you have really good connections, then cool. But for the average Joe, you have to have those materials in order to even be seen by someone. So, and I've known plenty of people that are fantastic actors. They just don't know
have
how
those.
to, like, they don't have the outlet to be able to express it. They don't have the ability to, like, I got lucky with my door. I just auditioned for as many things as I possibly could, and I got one really good one, which then led me down a little rabbit hole and stuff, and then just auditioning for every little thing. But I feel like doing this is like, hey, I have this. I've worked with these people. I've worked with these people, and I've built this up. It provides the material and provides kind of like
What they need.
the college almost,
Yeah.
like for acting,
Yeah.
to where like in college you get experience sometimes, or internships. It's like an internship in a way, to
Yeah.
where you get the experience before you actually go in, to show you that you have experience and knowledge about the industry. So
Yep.
that's
And-
awesome.
Yeah, and one of the things is like we wanna elevate the quality of talent here in Arizona.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're doing. And one of the pushbacks, because we did our market research and we saw that a lot of casting directors, when they see clips that are fabricated, like the ones we're about to do, they get discouraged because they're like, okay, well, obviously you picked the best clip out of, can they actually perform
Right.
on cue, not like, hey, I paid for this service and I got the best clip I could.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that we're facing. We want to build the brand of Spotlight to the point where it's trusted by casting directors, and it's like, oh, if you have this clip, because each clip we'll provide you will have our Spotlight logo, so they know, hey, oh, okay, they went through Spotlight. That means that this is legit. They didn't just like do clips over and over and over again. Like we auditioned them. We
kind of getting the I can't think of all the words and stuff, but like the verification.
It's a verification that
Yeah.
this isn't just a clip that we did over and over
Yeah.
again until you got it right. No,
Like
it
it's
was
by a
like,
trusted source.
yeah, it's a trusted
Oh,
source.
you guys did this. Well, we know that they only accept. It's kind of like
We
when you
only-
get a degree from Harvard.
Exactly.
You know that Harvard is a prestigious school, so if, like a degree would technically mean a lot more if it came from this versus some regular university or something.
Exactly.
And while they're both degrees and they're both good, they're definitely going to pay more attention to the Harvard degree than some random other small ass school degree.
Yeah.
So it's like separating that, which it could be definitely difficult.
I mean, those 3 things alone is a full-time job for a crew of like 20 people.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm ambitious, and I think if I put the right people in the right place, it's gonna work out.
Absolutely.
I think of the ideas, and I just say, let's go for it. I don't know how.
I love that.
Just set the intentions. The intentions is to do that,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't work out, we're gonna learn, and we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah. That was I was actually talking about that earlier with somebody, to where you have the goal, and obviously like the intention can be the goal, but the equation can change so much. A plus B might not always equal C. It might be E plus F equals this, or F plus A, or something like that.
Yeah.
The equation always can change. As long as you keep what it equals and the end goal in mind, and you're willing to adapt to the different equations, you can still go down. Maybe that first door that you opened isn't the path that it was supposed to go, and that's not the way you go. You're still meant to do that, just on a different path, just doing it a different way. So
Yeah.
yeah.